Welcome to the Games Talk Live podcast. I'm here, Jay Fonz this week. Of course, joining me every week is Hargeet Chani. And we also have a guest this weekend, and that would be That Blue Number. What's up, Holly? How's it going? Welcome.
Hello. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday indeed. Yeah, it's we're gonna have a good time today, folks. We're gonna have a really good time talking about everything going on in gaming news, which isn't much, except some of the items are pretty big, and we should have a conversation about it for sure. As always, my good friend Hargeet is here, my co-host. Hargeet, how have you been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing, my friend?
I haven't been up to too much. I've been playing little puzzle games. I decided to just go pick up a bunch. I've been playing like heavier games, and I'm like, I need a palate cleanser. And I like little puzzle games. And you guys were all playing Borderlands 4 while I was in chat with you, just playing a little, and puzzle games are just simple games where you just like solve little puzzles and like pick out objects within a scene and stuff like that. Just little easy games, just fun little side things. So I've been playing a couple of those. But I did play a little Borderlands 4, just solo so far. I haven't been able to party up with
Jump
anyone,
in,
but,
party with me.
Yeah. But all you guys are always like full up. So
not all the time. Not all the time. A lot of times it's just been me and Hargeet, me and Colt, or me and Holly and Colt. But Dante has only come into our games twice, I think. So
yeah.
So join us.
But yeah, other than that, like yesterday, like my my younger cousin just had a baby, so we went and saw the little baby yesterday, so it's very nice. But
Congrats.
Outside of that, yeah, thanks.
Awesome.
So that's been mostly my week. I haven't been playing too much, but where I have been, it's been just that.
First of all, boy or girl?
Boy, little boy.
Boy, did they name it after you?
No. No. Definitely not.
Another little Hargeet. I would love it.
Little Hargeet. No.
We need more Hargeets in the world. Hopefully he grows up to be as nice as you. So
well, thank you. We'll
see. Holly, of course, I know you've been playing Borderlands 4. It's been something that I've been loving, and I know we both have a common kind of negative about the game, but how are you liking the game so far?
Borderlands is good. Fonz, I know that you have a little bit of an issue with also the performance of it. It doesn't really. There's only been a couple times for me where I've been like, that didn't look so great, right? But it's been pretty short, so I don't know. Your PC is better than mine, so I don't know if it's just luck of the draw, if it's I don't know if it's the shader, the upreser, right? Because you don't like using DLSS, right? And I'm not using DLSS. I'm using TSR, which might make a difference as well. Which is the Epic version, and I have it on Epic Games, and it's Unreal, right? So I just went with the one that was with that. But other than that, it's just it's a Borderlands game, right? Like, so if you like Borderlands, you'll enjoy this. If you never really liked Borderlands, you probably won't find anything here that's just going to, scratch an itch that you've been missing. I think it's just a very chill, fun game to just run around, do a side mission, do they're not daily events, but, just like localized events, maybe do a main mission, and then the gear management and the loot management. So it's not one of those where you really feel like, oh, I can't wait to get to the next thing because for story wise, right? Because the story is, I don't even know what's going on in that story, to be honest. Like, I have no idea. But I know I go here and there's some things to do and to shoot them, and that's fun, right?
And on to that point, I feel like there should be more enemies within the world. It seems like there's a lot of sparsity, and like you go from one location to another location and you'll barely see any enemies to fight at all. And I'm like, I wish they would up that a bit.
Yeah. I can see that. Yes. Although when you are trying to do like one little thing, it seems like there's always nuisance NPCs that just want to come up and get in your face while you're like, I'm just trying to pick up some loot. Will you please leave me alone? But yeah, other than that, I play Fallout 76 every day. They have like daily challenges and stuff that I do because you get cool stuff. I do like Fallout 76. Don't get mad at me, but I'm one of the people. I like it.
No,
It's
that's
fun.
fine. Why would we get mad? If you like Fallout, you like Fallout 76. That's great.
Yeah. Some
It
people
reminds
get
me
really
of the
mad
time.
about it.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
not
that's weird.
podcast people, but you know, sometimes
weird.
you're like on Twitter
Don't play
and stuff.
Fallout
They're like,
76.
yeah, they're
Don't
like,
have fun.
you're taking doves away from Elder Scrolls, and I'm like, not
Yeah.
really.
No. And also, to your point on like just jumping on for the dailies and stuff, I remember doing that with Destiny. Like
Yeah.
when Destiny was in its heyday, the first one especially, I put thousands of hours into that game, and they made you go back to do it because you're like, I got to keep up, I got to do the dailies, and it kind of forced you to jump on. It was just. I know what you mean by that. It's a lot of fun. This is kind of funny here. Boba Fett Gaming says, bad optimization in a cel-shaded game in 2025. The generation keeps giving. That's true.
True.
But you know what? There's a lot going on in Borderlands 4. We can say, oh, it's just a cel-shaded game, but they've got a lot of stuff, lots of enemies on the screen at one time. There's certain points where you've got so much going on. Poor Dante's on the console, and I hear him go, hey, stop all this from going on because my console is chugging. Like the frame rate just takes a massive hit, and it's unfortunate. But Randy needs to stop talking on Twitter about how it's our fault about why his game doesn't perform right, and just get it right. Get his dev team to just put some patches out there. Fix the game a bit. Help us, Randy.
Poor
please.
Randy. He just
Poor
can't stop
Randy.
himself.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it's been a lot of fun though. I still like the game a lot. I'm having a blast with it. The open world is nice. I like open world games, so I like being able to go where I want to, do what I want. And I love the whole system where you come across an event like a bubble. You got a boss in a bubble. I guess we can call it that. Just a boss in a bubble. You go in there and you fight a boss. But the moment you step out of that bubble, he disappears, and you're like, okay, I ruined that.
Today I actually did I got pushed out of a bubble by one of those big buffalo things.
Oh man!
But the boss was still there. He
You
was
got
still there.
lucky.
He stayed.
Because if you step out, maybe it's on your own accord. If you step out,
No, but that's how
don't
it should be
step back
though.
in.
Yeah. I mean, no, I mean like it should be
Yeah,
that
yeah,
if you leave the bubble, right? Because they're
Yeah.
trying to make it more difficult. Yeah.
For sure. Biff Rinaldi
But
says
our
he finally
biggest-
has a day off to be here. Thank you, Biff. I appreciate you.
Nice.
Biff works a lot of hours. He's always talking about how
Biff's
much
a
he's
good dude.
working.
Really good. Dude.
Our biggest complaint though, Fonz, is
The loot.
the loot.
There's just
Yep.
not enough of it, and not enough cool.
Quality. There's not
Loot.
enough quality in what you get. Yeah.
That's for sure. I saw that right away. Now the RNG gods you can pray upon them all you want, and sometimes they'll answer. I have a character that has lots of cool weapons. I'm like, yeah, I love it. But my other character, on the other hand, doesn't, and I'm just like, what am I gonna do? Like, it's RNG. We just have to keep praying, I guess. Let's go ahead and get into our first topic here. So last week we told you about how Microsoft denounced some of the people that were, celebrating, advocating for violence and stuff like that on social media, and they talked about how it wouldn't be tolerated. And we were talking about how a certain developer at Sucker Punch decided to say some stuff and pretty much mock the death of Charlie Kirk. And that developer ended up getting fired. But we said, we want a statement. We want a statement from Sucker Punch. And that indeed happened. And let me pull this up right here. Let me share my screen really quick. Right here. Let me go up here. So Sucker Punch studio head comments on the firing of dev who joked about Charlie Kirk's death. Anyways, this is what they had to say. He says the facts are accurate. When asked about the situation, I guess this person, whose name is Brian Fleming. Brian Fleming is the head of Sucker Punch. He says, Drew's no longer employed here. I think we're aligned as a studio that celebrating or making light of someone's murder is a deal breaker for us. And we condemn that kind of in no uncertain terms. That's sort of our studio, and that's kind of where we are. So I'm glad that they mentioned this. I'm glad that they brought it up. That I know it's just something that we can just sit here and say, oh, well, that makes it all better, whatever. I know there was other studio folks that were liking the post from that person, Drew, who was mocking the situation. But I think at least this is kind of a wake-up call. And this is something that I've kind of been preaching on Twitter as of late when it comes to your job security and the freedom of speech and everything. Because a lot of people are under the idea that the freedom of speech and the First Amendment will protect you from losing your job, and it simply will not. Hargeet talked about that last week as well, how it stops from the government intervening and really coming down on you. But in terms of your job, that's a totally different situation. So be careful on what you say on social media. I know of somebody personally who went through something horrible years ago because of some posts on social media that weren't even his, but he ended up getting fired over it because they thought they were his posts. Got his job back and everything, but he was without pay for 6 freaking months. Things can happen to your life just by one simple post on social media, so be careful with that. I don't know if you want to add anything onto this, Hargeet, but those are my thoughts.
I'm happy that they did, because this was one of my requirements to say I'm still going to buy Ghost of Yote, because again, I'm still very excited to play this game because I love Ghost of Tsushima, and just behind the scenes I've heard it's pretty good. It's, if you like Tsushima, you're going to like this, so that's great. I'm looking forward to it. Of course, I'm waiting till it comes to PC. So whenever it does come to PC, I'm going to be happy to try to buy this game and play it. But this was going to be one of those things. Like, if you're not going to come out and say anything, then I'm on the fence. I don't know if I would buy it. So, but yeah, it's good. There's, like, that's clean, thorough. Like, no, we just outright deny it. Outright denounce it. We're good. We don't want anything to do with that kind of thing. That's great. That's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted to see.
Thanks.
Hargeet, are you getting it on PC?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a PS5, so it's PC only.
Okay.
What about you, Holly? Are you purchasing?
Well, if I play it, I haven't played Tsushima yet. I have it. I just haven't played it.
Oh, you gotta play.
So
PC,
for me,
it's good.
Where do you have it?
I have it on both, actually. I think
Oh,
so. I'm gonna play it on PC.
Definitely play on PC. If you have, I think you have a better, higher quality PC than you have a PlayStation, right? So definitely
plus,
play it there.
I would prefer the Xbox controller anyway.
Yeah.
There you go. That too.
But I mean, I do like the DualSense. I just don't like the battery of the DualSense. Plus, I have the Elite and I use the back buttons all the time, and so training my brain to go back to only just the front buttons.
It's this for me. It's the staggered sticks. It makes
it's got to be staggered. Yeah,
it's just more comfortable.
And by the way, you could always use your DualSense on your computer, right? You can always just plug it in your computer,
I know, but like they have like no battery and so it's just
I mean, I would just like directly plug it in and just leave it plugged in, right? I kind of gave up on the remoteness of DualSense. Or any freaking PlayStation controller. I just kept it plugged in. Yeah,
true story. I have trained my brain. I have a controller here, right? So instead of the ABXY, I've mapped all of the 4
nice
to ABXY, and I only use my thumbs stay on the sticks the entire time.
Nice.
Wow. And I use the paddles for ABXY.
Holy
and it is
crap,
the
that's
only
awesome.
way to play. So now for me to go back to a controller.
That is insane. How do you do
that?
That's
awesome.
How do you get used
Did she
to
freeze?
That?
Oh no.
She froze.
I think she froze. Dang it.
That was such a good little
But that's so cool.
Yeah. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
But you have to train yourself to
but I mean, think about that in a shooter perspective. That's got to be awesome, right? Because you're never off the sticks. You're always able to move around, right? So that is fantastic.
No, that is a cool thing to do. And one day I'll have to get an Elite. Everybody tells me how awesome
Oh
it
yeah,
is.
the Elite's awesome.
It's just hard to justify that.
But look,
price
there's
point for me.
equivalents. You don't have to get the Elite to get that functionality. So there are cheaper alternatives if you want to look at
I
somebody
know, but
else's.
they're not as good though.
Yeah,
That's what I've heard. I've heard they're not as good. She'll be back.
Yeah, the is it Scruff? I think is the one that people seem to like.
Scuff.
Scuff.
Controllers. Yeah.
Yeah, Scuff. Yeah, so you can try that. I think they have one with the paddles as well.
Expensive. So. They're expensive.
Yeah, I don't know how much they cost, but there are alternatives if you want to try them. Like, what the heck, right?
Yeah, for sure. But definitely.
No, you said Holly back, but
yeah, Holly will be back. Let's go ahead and talk about this. Speaking of prices and everything, let's talk about this increase of price with the Xbox. Second price increase in 6 months, Hargeet.
Yeah, less than that, right? 4 months.
Well, within the 6 months time frame here. And my whole thing is actually. Let me ask you first.
Hold on. Let's get her back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There we go.
Sorry, internet.
No problem. Internet issues. It may happen intermittently, but we're fine with that as long as you're here. But anyways, we were saying really quickly. Or I was asking you, did you had to train yourself to change your mindset of using this? Like, because I don't know.
No, it is the best. I told Jason Ronald this when I saw it, and he was like, "You do what?" I told him, I was like, "No, I do this," and he was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I was like, "Yeah, because like then you don't have to worry because sometimes like your right stick, you have to leave it right to press buttons and do all stuff or like back and forth." So, I mean, I still pick up another controller and I can, play okay, right? But I just feel it's extremely easier to do it this way because then every button gets a finger and it's just comfortable. You're not, I don't know. I love it. It's the only thing. It's the only way to play. So
that's awesome. I moved on to this topic here. We're talking about the price hike of the Xbox now, Holly. And I was going to ask Hargeet, but let me ask you, since you're the guest, I'm going to ask you first on this topic. What is your thought process on this new price hike? The second within 4 or 5 months, really. It's not been very long.
Yeah, it's unexpected. I don't think anybody saw this one coming, really, right? At least from what I've seen. I know there was some comments or speculation. I'm not sure if that was what was released with it or just people speculating on their own about it being due to tariffs. But I think that we can probably for sure say that it's not tariffs.
That's the official word anyway from Xbox. They're stating that it's due to economic challenges with the tariffs.
Well, economic challenges doesn't. Oh, they said because of tariffs. I don't buy it.
That's what is being presented anyway.
I don't think it's tariffs. I think it's a load of hooey because the tariffs for China, if we're assuming that these come from China, they're on a 90-day suspension right now from escalation. So basically, they're still trying to negotiate a better deal. They have through like November 10th, the governments, right, to negotiate a different deal for the tariffs with China in particular. Now, they still have, I think it's like 30% right now, which was what the original price bump was kind of supposed to take care of, right? But this one, if they're trying to even say it's like in advance of what that new tariff level of escalation is going to be, we don't know what it's going to be, right? Because that's the whole point of the 90-day suspension of it so that they can negotiate to a better medium. So I just not buying tariffs personally. I think it's what a lot of companies, not just Microsoft, it's like everybody, even Windows, right? I was trying to price some Windows for my house. Oh, those dang old tariffs. Like, I'm like, really? I feel like tariffs is sometimes it is because of tariffs, but I think a lot of times the tariff narrative is an easy scapegoat for these companies to just raise prices, period, full stop, right? Because they're always looking for a reason to raise prices. And the other thing that is a little bit goofy to me, just kind of tying in Xbox and the tariffs and no price, etc., is that the LAX is supposed to be dropping in a little less than a month, right? Isn't it October 15th? And despite what we had seen as the rumor, there's been no like official announcement, correct? On the price?
No.
Right. So we're a little less out, and they said,
Mhm.
oh, because of the market volatility of prices, we're still trying to work all of that out. And I'm like, first of all, they're already built and in a warehouse somewhere in the country, because if they're available October 15th, you already have them built. They're already here. So you've already paid the tariffs to get them in, right? Second of all, we're back to the first narrative about tariffs not like fully escalating until November 10th, which is a month after their release. So you have at least a month of the price that could be, announced today beyond the release date. And like, what are you going to do? What else is going to change? I don't think tariffs are the reason of the price not being announced, or at least it might be used as that. But in my very simple brain understanding of how all this stuff works, I just don't see why that price isn't already released, because whatever's built is already here. They paid the tariff to get it in the country. Done. Right.
And it's not like we're selling a lot of consoles right now, or as of late. And we're going to get into that a bit later. So that's one of my concerns too, is before I get to you, Hargeet, the stock concerns of how, some are saying that, I'm sure there's a lot of stock here that's already been imported. Why are we going with tariffs on October 3rd right now? And then you have the same thing that Holly's talking about here with the delay in the tariffs right now. They're not implemented. And my biggest argument over this situation is, didn't we already hike the price due to tariffs 4 or 5 months ago? That is what they said. They hiked the price.
No, that's what other people said. That's not what they said.
Oh, so what did they say about it then?
They just said it was the standard market stuff that they're saying. It was just, so what I understood from it, it was nothing to do with that. It was directive of companies saying, we're not taking a bath on this anymore. That was them saying, we're just going to sell at profit.
I think that's still happening.
That was what that was. So that had nothing to do with tariffs. People just kind of kept putting it on there. It's like, no, this is not tariffs, guys. So a lot of people blame that,
Hargeet?
and I kept saying, no, this is them saying, we're done taking a bath.
Okay, so what do you say
if we're no
this?
longer competing?
Yeah.
On this one, I could say it's partially that, but I don't know if I agree that it's entirely that either. I think this is, market dynamics of where they are, and they're saying we're not getting the same deals anymore, and we're gonna now just make pure profit on this because people aren't buying it anyway, right? If they're gonna buy it, then just pay up. Now, you know how I can say that? That 2 terabyte edition going up $70 freaking dollars.
Oh,
are you kidding me? $70 freaking dollars.
$800
That thing's
for a
$200
console.
more. It's
$800.
$200 more than when it was announced. It's what? No. This is just pure greed, profit. That's what they're looking to do here. And I think it's just on the decline, and they don't care. Just like Nintendo, after 8 years, took the Switch 1 and said, oh, we're going to increase the price of the Switch 1 when you just released the Switch 2, right?
It's
just insanity. Okay, so look, I don't know if that's it, because the tariff thing, it's Nintendo saying the effects of that have not yet been accounted for, and the Switch 2 may go up in price. It's like, okay, come on, right? So we don't know what's going to end up happening, right? So yeah, I don't know if I buy all that. There are many dynamics that go into this. There's a lot of stuff that came out recently about the console generation itself. It's 14 million units behind where it was in Xbox One and PS4 gen. You can attribute that to either side. It doesn't matter. That's that many fewer people decided to go into this market, right? It's not like, oh, there were Xbox people who switched to PS or PS people who switched to Xbox. No. That many fewer people are on this generation of consoles, right? So they could either have stayed on the previous, went to PC, or abandoned gaming. That's what we're seeing, right?
Mhm.
So from a market perspective, it's declining. That's never a good sign. So what do you do in a declining market? What you saw right here, like point that way, or that way,
Yeah,
or that way.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, you
that's
get
why
these price increases.
No.
This is what they're doing, and
Yep.
like game prices are increasing, service prices are increasing, console prices are increasing. This is the insanity you see, because they have to keep growing their revenue. That has to keep going up, right? And so this is kind of, unfortunately, the world. You see, like there's a lot of I don't know if you want to read the super chat there first. Go ahead.
Yeah, Danny Passion Official with the 10. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. He says dropping some I believe just dropping some love to the panel here. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, so as far as like the market itself, when you look at the younger generation, unfortunately people aren't having kids, so that has an effect, right? There's an assumption of growing market. Well, growing market needs growing demand. That means growing number of people that actually have a demand. Well, that's precipitously dropping off now, and like the 2008 crisis is when it really went off a cliff here. China is in a massive decline already because of the one-child policy. So there's all these things happening all over the world where there's just a precipitous drop-off, right? And like the drop-off in the US is like 50%. So there's half as many kids as the previous year, right? That's how ridiculous it is. That's what we're going through, right? And the demand from that, teens, tweens, 20s is just going to keep going down because there's just not enough people. And the people that are there don't care about the console war, don't care about the games that we've been playing. They care about those, black hole games where they socialize.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. And so this is entirely different market economics that's just driving a different world. A lot of them are on PC because they can use Discord and have fun chatting while being in a shared world game.
Yeah, and
that's what they do.
Yeah, and this all speaks to our next topic, by the way, what you're saying here, because we are going to dive deep into the next one. But before we do get into all that, I want to just read out some of these prices here because they're just ridiculous. Xbox Series S 512 gigabyte model is now $400. So that is your cheap entry point now. What was the original price of this? $299,
$300.
I believe. Yeah,
it was $300.
This is
it still ends up being the cheapest way to get in the current gen, because even the Switch 2 is $450, which might become $500 soon. But
true. And then you have the 1 terabyte model, which is $450. You got the Xbox Series X digital at $600.
Yeah, jeez.
And then the one with the disc, of course, is $650 now. And then you've got the 2 terabyte for $800. I cannot believe we're here, 5 years into the gen. This is insane, Holly.
It makes me kind of chuckle a little bit because I don't know if you guys remember after this gen started, the Series S was selling like hotcakes, and it was everywhere for $225, $250. Like the purchase, the sticker price was still $300, but you could get it all over
cheaper.
And it was just abundantly easy to get, and they were selling it at just such a lower price because it just worked for them or whatever, right? And now you're looking at it and I'm just, I don't know. It's just such a strange thing to see happen. And to one thing, back to Hargeet's like point before about kids and what they want to do now and all that stuff. 100%. I fully believe that an analyst will study the Fortnite effect on gaming, like in outlying years, and 100%. You will see a ripple like you never thought, right? Because we keep seeing all of these things happen, and you could say, well, it's because of this, and it is, right? It's not one single thing. It's not only Fortnite, but Fortnite was like the pebble that dropped in the pond and created all of these ripples. And it has affected gaming in ways that I don't think people actually think or thought or could imagine, right?
I stopped buying gold. Now I buy Xbox.
That's good.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
This goes great into this next topic. So Chris String, everybody knows Chris String, the journalist, the gaming journalist. He says that video game consoles sales are declining. He says the number of active PS5 and Xbox Series consoles will be 14 million behind what the PS4 and the Xbox One achieved during the same.
Yeah, you could put it up here, right?
Life cycles. It's pretty interesting here. Let me see if I can get it up here. Anyways, okay. Let me try to. No, that's. No, I don't have it up. I don't have it up. Not that anyway. So he says, because I have all this in notes, basically. Now, of course, Hargeet, we just talked about, some of the reasons why that's contributing to the lack of sales for consoles, for sure. The Fortnite effect, you've got kids, younger kids playing different, not playing the same type of platforms anymore. A lot of them are on mobile and stuff. In fact, video game sales, even the game sales itself are way down from all demographics. There's been a 13% decline since 2024 alone. And in the age group between 18 and 24, it's more than 25%. So that's gaming altogether. That's the games themselves. But these consoles, what do you guys think the other things that contribute to this? I mean, I would say one that's kind of obvious. It's the price of these freaking consoles. And it seems counterintuitive that they're increasing that price. It's like, what do you expect here? Like, they're not going to sell any more consoles. I don't see how this helps them, Hargeet. Like, what do you think else is happening here? Why is it such a decline in sales?
I think it's a decline in that first, the games that they're playing are still on the old gen. So they don't have to upgrade. So part of it's going to be that. And I think people are just like, especially in certain, player arenas, they're just moving to PC, and we're seeing the money is shifting there. We're seeing that PC is becoming the bigger platform. How many of the RDX crew are now on PC? It is what it is, right? And
all of them but dealer. Yeah,
and so and like I'm still playing on Xbox, but like I have my PC, it's there.
Exactly.
So it's becoming kind of just commonplace that PC is taking over. Just the customizability, the open options, everything being available. You play any game, it doesn't matter, right? Everything's there. Mods are available. Like there's so much more capability there. There's a lot more investment there. So people think there are no exclusives. There's a ton of exclusive games that are on PC only. And there are some big games. World of Warcraft, anyone? Big games. League of Legends. I could go on. There's so many big games.
Counter-Strike.
Mm-hmm. Yep, CS:GO 2 is still not on console, right? So, the big games that are only on PC, and all that factors in. And it's like at this point, like, why wouldn't you? It's a very simple machine that gives you both access to productivity, gaming, whatever you want, socializing. It's all there, right? You have one box, gives you everything. It can be a laptop you take with you anywhere. It's just convenient for a lot of people. That's what they're doing nowadays, right? Yeah, you don't have to have a massive rig. Yes, a lot of us in the enthusiastic world were like, oh, I want my 4080 or my 5080 or whatever. No, you don't need any of that. A perfectly capable laptop is good enough for most people, and it gives them access to play the games. That's what they're looking to do, play the games. That's it. And, they have access to all the libraries, all the discounts, all the free games every month that just get dropped. It's like there's just too much, value there, and it's very hard. You have Game Pass along with EA Play, along with Ubisoft Plus, right? You have all those options. It's just becoming more and more that's the standard. As far as the price, when you can tell your parents, you're a teenager, hey, I can get a laptop which lets me do my homework, research everything, and also play games. It's a better sell than say $700 for a PS5 Pro. Because all you can do on that, because it doesn't even have a bloody browser, is play games, right? And you get a much better, chance to say, I want to buy a $1,000 laptop. It'll let me play games, but it also lets me do my homework, right? Because it will. It's just the way it is, right? Even if only 10% of the time, hey, that's value of you did something valuable with that device other than just play games. So it's easier to do that. And then just from if I'm going to college, I need a freaking machine anyway. I need something to do my work anyway, right? You pick up. It's just that simple, and it becomes the thing that they get used to, and that's what happens. It used to be if you wanted to play games, it was kind of expensive on PC, but it doesn't have to be that way now. It's kind of commodity to have a general mid-range machine. And you look at the prices of like, oh, I paid this much for the console. I paid this much every year to just play online. Well, I could just do that free over there. Why? I look at the price of a brand new game. I can go to CD Keys and pay like 20% less, 10% less. Why would I do this over here? Like, what is the point, right? At least on the Xbox side, you can say, yeah, you get Game Pass. Fair enough. But Game Pass is half the cost on PC. And it still includes EA. And it's like, well, okay, where's the advantage? Especially if you're cash strapped, you're like, why would I do that when I could use this for productivity? I can, do my homework. I can do all the work I ever need to do, and I get to play games and I play everything. Like, it's just the value is just becoming tougher and tougher. It used to be a cheap entry point that was subsidized. Well, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes subsidized. But it used to be like it was designed to be a low cost thing that you could put in every home. That has changed to, it's a PC. It literally is a PC now. And it's just a PC that was being subsidized. And they're like, we're done with subsidizing. That's what's happening. Both PlayStation and Xbox have decided we're done with it. Nintendo, a while ago, back in the Wii, decided we're not subsidizing anything. You guys pay for the box, profit from day one, right? That's the way it is. So that's what Nintendo's been doing for a while now. Right. And the other two are just saying, the hell with it, let's do the same thing. I don't know where this goes. Usually the marker that tries to shift the mindset of the seller is when the market says no. Right. And the market is saying no by declining sales. Right. That's literally what that marker is. Right. So they're getting a signal, we're not buying your stuff.
But that's
what happens.
How does this help them by increasing the price again? Up to $80 for a console. Like, what are you doing that is going to make people, how do you think this is going to make people feel when they're already not buying it because your console is expensive?
No, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know if this changes their perspective later. I don't know, right? Like, we had the price hike for Xbox games to $80. And they're like, oh, that's not working. Let's undo that. And so they flip back, right? Because ultimately that would really devastate them. They need to have the sales of the games, right? That still has to happen. The console, they can say, fine, we don't have to sell the game here. We can sell it there. That's fine, right? You can change the avenue. At least you're still getting your sales. But if that doesn't happen, they're in trouble. I don't know if this is enough of a signal to PlayStation and Xbox to say, hey, our market is shrinking. We pushed the price boundaries up a bit, and now it's not working. Well, you can kind of see it if you kind of see the rumors of Xbox and PlayStation's next consoles, right? If you look at the PS6, they were looking at theoretically doing a Series S equivalent on the PS6. Why? Because they're seeing when you put out a $700 PlayStation 5 Pro, it didn't sell as well. Wow, shocking.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, no, we need to have a lower price so that people can get, that will be the baseline and people will get in. So the exact thing that everybody poo-pooed Xbox on by creating a Series S at $300, which, like Holly, you were saying, that was the one that was selling. Why? Because it's a cheap entry point. That's all you need. You just want to play games, right? So a lot of people are like, that's good enough for me. I don't need more than that. That's fine, right? And so because if that default PS6 is $800, how many people are going to buy it? It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be
if that default. Go ahead, sorry.
And I think that's what also contributes to people jumping to PC. It's the fact that these console prices have gotten to a point where you're like, should I spend
just buy a PC?
$12.99 on a 4070 PC, or should I buy that $800 console? It's
which, by the way, that 4070 PC can last you like 10 years, right? It's up to you. If you decide, I need more oomph because something came out, that's on you. You don't have to. 1080s still work. A 1080 Ti, still fantastic. 2080, still fantastic.
I wouldn't.
You
call
can
a
play a lot
Ti
of games with those.
Fantastic, but it still works. But
it still works. That's what I mean. That thing came out when?
Yeah.
1080 is like what, 2 gens ago? Like, it's a long time old card, right?
An old laptop could still access PC cloud gaming too. Just fine.
True.
Yep.
Right.
True. And Holly, when I wanted to get to you and say that, what would you say to people that would tell you that they think, because I've seen this is not just a straw man. They've said that they think that they're just pushing themselves out of the console market purposely by raising the price and just saying, you know what, we're just done with this, to have a sort of a scapegoat to get out of it. Because I don't
think that's. I mean, I could see why people think that. I don't really think it's the case. What I would say is that it should trigger everybody to kind of see, at least in my opinion, that obviously they're not going to be subsidizing any console from this point moving forward, which I think a lot of people have been saying for quite a while now. And also I think it signals that they care less and less about hardware as far as the consoles go, in my opinion, because there is such a resurgence in PC, and that's great for them. They don't care, right? Plus, they've, like Hargeet said, they found a way to make money in all of the ways available in traditional gaming, in all the spaces. It doesn't mean that they won't have another hardware. Of course, we all are fairly confident. Magnus, I believe that they are going to have more hardware, but I do think it is going to be more for the enthusiast. And I think that's also why not why, but I think it's also part of the reason that we are seeing a resurgence or an uprising in the handheld space, because of the younger generation having phones. They don't, they play on phones, they play on iPads, right? That's easy. It's a no-brainer. Even a laptop, like Hargeet was talking about, right? Like a laptop is dual purpose, so they don't necessarily need to purchase something second, or they're doing something and, oh well, my game is here too, right? It's just an easier thing to do. And I don't think the kids that are coming up into their early 20s, or like the kids that were kids that are becoming in their early 20s, they grew up with PCs and everything already, right? Like it's not like the people in their 40s and 50s that grew up where PCs weren't really that much of a thing in your home, right? Like it was sort of you were a rich kid if you had a PC in your home, I think, for a lot of people in those generations when you were a kid. But literally now PCs aren't scary the way they were for then. And they just know how to do it, and they just know how to use it. So I think the resurgence that we're seeing of the handheld space is to sort of bridge that gap between consoles and the youth preferring to have something much more mobile, much more easy for them to use, not necessarily wanting or having the capacity to buy a gaming laptop or whatever the case may be, but also it having the dockable feature and having the play anywhere and all that stuff is still going to appeal to everybody who had Game Boys and all of that too. So I don't know that they found
a cheaper entry point into PC gaming as well,
exactly,
and have their Game Pass and Xbox and all that as well, because you can just hook it up into a dock, have your monitor, and play with a controller.
Exactly. The TikTok generation doesn't want the console, the TV, all of the stuff, right? Like they need something that's easily accessible all the time in 10 minutes, in 10 seconds or less.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
That's just my
Magnum brought up something here. He says third parties ain't going to support an enthusiast console, Hargeet. What do you say to that?
It doesn't matter, right? Because Xbox is merging with Windows. That was always the thing. That's why you just eliminate that problem altogether and just say just develop for Windows. No problem. If you want to put it on our store, you can put it on in a way that it's available on both console and PC. Your choice, right? And ultimately, from a gamer perspective, you're going to have Steam. It just won't matter. That was always the thing that had to happen. Once you merge to Windows, it eliminates all these problems. Because that was my fear, which is why Tim Dog got all scared about the exclusivity issue. Was like, if you take away the ability for there to be a large install base, nobody will put their games on there because the publishers won't care. But if you merge with Windows, that eliminates that problem altogether because you can just buy the Windows version and you're done. It doesn't matter. And so now you're all set, right? It's from a consumer perspective. As long as I can get the games on the platform I'm on, I'm happy. I don't care. I just want to play games, right? So that gets solved.
Well, that's the same. I'll just get a PC, which is what a lot of people are saying. Indeed, that is what's happening right now. It's one of the contributing factors of console decline.
Right. So
and Raichi, sorry, I was gonna say Raichi is absolutely right too. He said kids won't have cash for a house in the living room to play a console. They live with their parents, and they will have a monitor in their room. Yeah, he's talking about just the economic situation,
general,
right?
Economics.
For the young.
Yep.
Yeah. It's crazy, but hopefully, because I've always looked to consoles like, I've always loved consoles growing up. I've always been, and I'm still fascinated by the tech, and I'm still like into like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do with the next consoles. Like, how much are they going to get? How much are they going to grow? And me and you before the show, Hargeet, were talking about how much more powerful these next consoles are going to be. It looks like a substantial jump. And
it does.
That's still an interesting thing, but I've always looked to consoles as being that cheaper entry point into gaming. And although it's still technically cheaper, when you're getting to that near $1,000 for a console, it makes PC kind of attractive.
It does.
And that, I think, is going to be a problem for consoles going forward. On the note of power, though, Hargeet, we have something here that I'm going to put up on the screen because you brought it to my attention today. I guess there was a leak, and this leak is talking about the Magnus chip from AMD. Tell everybody about this here.
So we've been hearing more and more about the two new consoles, right? PS6 and Project Magnus, which is going to be the baseline for the platform that Xbox is creating. And I guess we got a little bit more information that Magnus, the dev kits have 96 compute units. And like I was predicting, PS6 will be in the mid-30s T-flops, and Xbox will be about 50s T-flops. That's literally what we're seeing. And then they're already, running Forza Motorsport at 110 locked. That's pretty good, 110 frames per second. With reflections, and that means I'm assuming ray traced reflections.
RT,
Yep. And then whatchamacallit, the other big note here is the 2026 isn't a rumor. It's actually in the firmware. 2026 is the expected time frame for Magnus to come out. Now, that does not mean that it's an Xbox manufactured device. It could be an Xbox through OEM, just like the Asus ROG Ally Xbox Edition, right? It could be a partner device. I don't know the answer to that. I'm just putting that out there. So this is kind of what what we're looking at as far as the next hardware cycle. So again, what is this going to cost? I have no idea. And this is a scalable platform. Magnus allows you to go up and down, so you don't have to do all 96. You can do lower if you want. And that would be for an OEM perspective. But this is what they're going to target, right? So this will be what an Xbox, probably a 2027 release would be.
That's what
could be. Could be 2026. I don't know, right? We will find out. I'm sure there's lots of fun announcements to come over the next half a year or so. But we will see what they tell us. But if there is a 2026 Xbox, I'm assuming Xbox, PlayStation, I think they're kind of locked into a 2027 timeframe. That's kind of where things are seemingly going. So I don't think they're going to announce anything anytime in the next half a year. I think that would be late next year, if not later, but sometime in that range. I would say late next year we'll start to hear about it in a more official pattern. I don't think they're going to tell us much until then, but I could expect if they're going to be doing anything in 2026, hey, maybe Game Awards, maybe they tell us something. Maybe it'd be crazy as if the Dev Direct has something about this. That would be insane. But something around that time frame, maybe even like a separate March showcase or of some sort, just for hardware or something like that. We'll see. I don't know, but that's my guess. But it's looking like it's aligning. So that is kind of the power level you can expect here, which is substantial. It's pretty damn impressive. But will that come with an impressive price? Maybe a lot of the pricing we're seeing now is to get you lubed up for that really bad price that's coming.
Because how can you look at current day pricing and think, well, next gen's going to be cheaper? That's my mindset. I don't know, Holly. What do you think about that? Like, where are you at on the next gen pricing? Do you think we're going to see something crazy, or is it going to go back down? Will it be shocking?
I think it'll be on par with the LIX. I think it'll be in that like $700 to $900 range.
Oof.
Well,
yeah.
Probably close. I don't know. Yeah, maybe around $900. Yeah. Because again, right? Like you could say that sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money for a console. Full stop. Period. Right? But if they're selling it as, look, this is not just a console, it's a PC, right? And look at all of the other things that you can access with it. And they're not, we already have established, right? They're not going to take a wash on any of it. I don't know. 900 might sound like a lot, but like, look what they're doing with the LIX. Like it's $900, right? Mm-hmm. The nice one.
Yeah, supposedly that's the rumor anyway. We'll see. The tariffs might make it break 1,000. Who knows? But I think
I'll add a little more background to this as far as like these are intended to be 3 nanometer. Generally, when we had consoles, right, they would have a size for the actual components, and it would keep shrinking and get cheaper, right? And what usually that means is that the wafer is usually this big circle thing where you then imprint a number of APUs, right? So basically processors on that wafer. If you can shrink it, you get that many more per wafer. That gives you more cheaper per processor cost, right? So that could be passed on to you. Unfortunately, when it went below the 6 nanometer mark, it became very expensive to do that. So that has been the big impediment. Normally we would say, hey, you go from 6 down to 5 or 4 nanometer, and therefore we could shrink it down and it could get cheaper and cheaper. To do that, it was way more expensive than just making it at 6 nanometers. This is why we haven't seen the prices come down, is because of that. And a lot of other factors. There's many other factors, right? But that's why the normal thing we see is, hey, why don't they just shrink it down? And now these are all going to be 3 nanometers, which is going to be expensive. So I just want to put that out there. Like, don't expect it to be coming in at like $300-400. I don't think that's a possibility.
What do you think?
I think base, it's gonna, at least Magnus, if you're looking at that performance level, you're probably looking at $700-800 easy. If you're looking at something that can scale down, you can say, you know what, I'm gonna have half the CUs. So kind of think of a OEM partnered Series S. I could see them cut that back into the $500-600 range. That's a possibility. But just look at what you're getting with like the ROG Ally and then Ally X. Right, that kind of is $300-ish kind of difference, 5 to 8, 9, whatever in that range, like 550. Right, that's the kind of delta you could potentially see, is because they're cutting down a lot and saying we're going to give you a lot less performance, but it's decent enough to get you a good enough performant machine. If you're okay with that, fair enough, right? But think like a 50-60, 50-70, all the way up to a 50-90, right? There's a massive range there. Performance does go up quite a bit, but do you need it? Can you live at a 50-70, right? And that's kind of what they're going to have to play with. They're literally the same card. There's just more of it. That's it, right? A 50-90 just has that many more compute units, right? Versus the 50-70, but they're literally the same thing. So that's what they're going to look at and say, okay, I can clock it higher, I can clock it lower, I can give it more, I can give it less. That's what they're going to do to get it to be cheaper. But if I'm looking at that beast, yeah, I just don't see that being cheap, right? Just think of that equivalent in a graphics card alone, and it's expensive. And now you're talking with the CPU, with the memory, with the storage, with the all that other stuff that they need to make it all work, with the power supply. It's gonna be something in that range. I would expect it to be $700-ish, $800-ish. Could it be cheaper? Maybe, but I highly doubt it. I think the APUs themselves are going to, for both PS6 and this, are going to be just expensive. I just can't see it being, unless they somehow perfect the process that is already very expensive to do. And this is why, by the way, GPU prices are crazy, right? They're using the newer processes, and they're massively expensive. Look at the freaking cost of like the 50 series. It's too much. It's just crazy. But this is what it is. This is why it's expensive, is they're using these more expensive processes to make it so you can actually have these things. But, you know, they haven't really gotten to the point of perfecting it to make it cheap.
Yeah.
So if they can figure that out, that'd be awesome. But
what do you think they're going to do about expandable storage this time?
As far as the Xbox side of it, I think they should forego the storage card and come up with something different. Because right now, like, you know, the current gen, if you try to get a high end, you know, NVMe, it runs at about double the rate of even what the PlayStation was doing, or triple the rate of what the PlayStation was doing. They're up to 15 gigabytes a second, right? So normal ones, like the previous gen for PC was 7.5 was the max. Now it's 15 gigs. You know, so I don't think they should hamper that and like say at least go 7, if not do something in the current, you know, the current spec for NVMe. How do they expand it with the heat dissipation problems and all that stuff? That's on them. So what they decided to do was to give you something that you could plug in. It would do a heat dissipation inside the system, and then it would vent it outwards. Which kind of works, but it also made it very proprietary. It's not a proprietary NVMe. It's a laptop-based device, but doing it that way made it expensive for us. So they're probably going to take some of that in and try to figure out a better way to do that. So I don't know what their plan is and how they can make that more modular. You know, but they should do something to make it a bit more open so that there's more competition available to make it cheaper for us. But like, especially if they're calling it a PC, you definitely want to be more open to PC components, right? Because people are just going to kind of expect that. The more you try to go into PC realm, it's like, hey, I can buy this thing it's a standard PC part. Why can't I use it, right? So they're going to have to kind of figure that out. The downside is that they also have a proprietary lock on the devices that are allowed to be used. They may still do that. PlayStation doesn't care. You can put whatever you want in, right? They just expect a certain performance level. If you mess with that, then the game may crash, and that's on you. That's how they put it, right? So Xbox may say, no, we'll only allow these types of devices and we'll certify them or whatever. That will start to get in that same problem. So I don't know. It's a good question, but I think they should forego the old storage unit and just move to something new.
Yeah.
It was, as somebody who is not like, I don't want to take this bad boy. I don't want to take this off and do anything to it because it scares me, right? Like I'm sure I can, and I know people who will help me, but I don't really want to do that kind of thing. I appreciated the fact that it was just a plug and play.
Yep, stick it in, and yeah. Right.
So
yes,
I take
as
it
opposed to this.
You have not cleaned it out yet, have you?
I have not. But it still looks beautiful.
Yeah, I'll tell you that it's scary, but once I did it one time, I'm more at ease about doing it because you can't let the little fans spin and all that stuff. People are like, "Oh, just dust it out with a air duster." You can't let those fans spin, so you have to take certain parts out, and it's kind of a whole deal.
Well,
or you can pay somebody else to do it.
But my point is, when the PlayStation had their, well, here's how you put in your expandable drive, and you're like, what? Like I had to take it apart and then the heat, and then there was a lot of misunderstanding about the heat sink with it, and a lot of like back and forth about the right. I think yes, it is nice that it was an option for them that was just open. But it was very difficult for the average person, I think, who just does.
Yeah, no, a lot of people don't want to do that.
Stuff doesn't know. That's why they buy a console, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Or a pre-built PC. They just don't realize that eventually you're going to have to clean it out, and you're either going to have to pay someone, like Hargeet said, or do it yourself and just be very,
So
very
if
careful.
they offered you an external storage option that you connect via USB-C, would you be happier with that?
I mean, I'm just talking for people who just, you know what I mean, they buy a console because they don't really want to do anything about it, right? Like they just want it to work, and I just want it to be done.
Yeah.
So I think, while I appreciate the fact that Sony had, you could buy whatever part you want, we'll let you do it. It just didn't really work very well, I
Yeah.
think, for the average consumer. Plus, remember, you couldn't even buy anything for the first couple months because they hadn't figured out how to do it yet, really, right, or something. And so,
Or they didn't have, I think they didn't have the NVMEs out yet. The right ones.
but
or
they
something.
also had to. There was something about, no, they were trying to figure out the heatsink issue too, I think, because that was a problem.
Yeah.
But either way, the anything that would just plug in, I think, is, like you said, it doesn't have to be proprietary, but I think it would just be smart for both of them have learned the lesson, right? Like, I can't have people spending as much on the storage as the console costs them, or I can't, go down this route of asking people to do this thing because it just
I think
Yeah,
that's
look,
a
I
good
mean-
rule of thumb. If you are going to make anything proprietary, make sure it's easy. So.
And cheap. But yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But
well,
either
yeah,
way. But I think they could do something with external storage if they wanted to do that, right? So and then maybe give you an option where you can have whatever you want. And then maybe some OEMs out there would put in standard drives, whatever standard NVMe drives, into this enclosure that they could just sell to you, right? And that way you can buy whoever's you want and plug it in.
By the way, I'm
so-
sorry. On the last topic, we're talking about how console sales are declining. Younger generation ain't playing on consoles as much. I forgot these super chats here. Danny Passion Official, thank you for the 2. He says mobile gaming plays a huge part here. Very much so. Very much so with the younger demographic. And also, there was one here from Mac 22TH54 for $4.99. Thank you very much. He says, FYI, UPS, DHL, and other ground shipping companies have increased their prices by almost 6%. BNSF, that's the rails, that's train, is at a 20-year high cost, just saying. Yeah, that could attribute to the higher cost in prices for sure. If they're using rail, of course they use DHL and UPS and all that. Supposedly tariffs are affecting all of it. So there's that. One thing I wanted to get at real quick, though, is this here. Let me get this up. Boba Fett Gaming says, maybe with this next gen of consoles, 1440-60 will be the minimum by then. And I have to say to you, my friend, I wish, but it's not going to happen. And the reason being is every time we have new tech, of course, that new tech is pushed by the developers with whatever new feature sets they have at their disposal. One of those things right now that's very taxing is, of course, path ray tracing. And that is going to be a key component in the next consoles. They are going to push that path ray tracing. Let me tell you, the good thing about the Xbox side, if it is indeed a sort of PC/hybrid console, is you will be able to play those PC versions of those games, and you'll be opened up to tweak the settings on your own and maybe get that 1440p 60 without the ray tracing and stuff. Because a lot of that stuff is like locked in on console games. We don't get those same options to turn that stuff off. So maybe you will for the Xbox. So that's what I wanted to say there, by the way. We got another one, Face 23 BKNY with a 1999. Hargeet Shani, this is to you, Hargeet. So Sony was thinking ahead with the SSD. I bought my 4 terabyte SSD on sale for $200. For me, that sounds really expensive, but you do you. And it was easy to put in the PS5, in my opinion.
Cool. I mean, it's again what Holly mentioned, right? It's a trade-off of, do you make it easy to install, or do you make it more available for a variety of manufacturers to give you an option, right? It's just unfortunately like a trade-off you have to make. Some people, it's like, to me, I don't care. I build my PCs. I can absolutely put an SSD in. That's not a big deal. But for some people, it's like, you want me to open this thing? I don't know. Is that going to void the warranty? I don't understand. It's like they don't want to see it at all. So.
Pragmatic Eagle says it's cringy as hell that 5 years into the gen, folks still have no damn clue how to use their shit. It's funny. Yeah, so I don't know. Next gen is going to be interesting. You've got the whole aspect of what Boba Fett was talking about, where we're going to be at with minimum, frame rates and stuff like that. Then you've got the whole dynamic of the price increases going on now. Will it affect next gen's pricing? Of course it will. Like, this is, to me, when I look ahead and I think of the price, I just look to today and go, well, if we're spending $400 just to get in this current gen of gaming, and we're talking a lot less power than they're talking about with the PS6 even, I'm saying that price is going to be at least bare minimum $700. That's the way I see it. And I just can't see anything else other than that. So I think the hobby is just getting more expensive, unfortunately. What we have to do is keep pressing back, especially when it comes to gaming prices. That's the big one for me. I still have yet to only buy. I've bought one $70 game, and you guys know I've said it here. I regretted buying it for $70, and it was God of War Ragnarok. Outside of that, I have not bought one game that has been $70. I buy all my games either on CD Keys or some other site, and at least spend around $60 because that's the sweet spot. Like, for me, that's all I'm willing to pay for a game. I don't want to pay $70 even today for games. And now they're talking about $80. I'm not for that at all. So, by the way, Web Dave with $1.99 says, Holly, Hargeet, Fonz, the best. Fire, hit that like button. Talk that shit with the fire emojis. Good to see you, Dave. Good to see you. But yeah, so, I mean, you got anything else to say about next gen? What are you guys hoping for with all this, with the consoles and stuff? Do you guys have any thoughts on what we're going to see? I mean, it's only 2 years away. It's not far.
Or 1 year away.
Possibly, but I doubt it. I really doubt it's going to be next year. We'll see. But
the only things I'm interested in is how Microsoft bridges the Windows and console world and how well they do with it. We'll see the first step in this journey with the ROG, right? The new Asus ROG Xbox Ally. We'll see how they do that, and then it's going to continue to evolve. I just want to see what they do with that. I still want a very consistent console interface if I'm putting it under a TV. That would be very nice, but allow me as much freedom to do the PC stuff. At least bring it over as much as they can, right? So being able to bring in my Steam library and all that's great, but also mods, right? That are somewhat restricted on console, but there's this entire world of it available on PC, right? And how do they bridge that in? Is that going to be available or not, right? These kind of things are very interesting to see. And it could be a very long journey. It could be multiple years even after it comes out, right? As to when they get these features over. But those are the things I'm looking for, is like, okay, this is a new model that is just kind of a new journey, and it kind of gives you the excitement of like new feature, right? Versus just, hey, it's the status quo, and you don't really change much. It's just the same thing every year or every month or whatever, right? Whereas it used to be like at the beginning of the gen, you just kept getting features every month, right? Or the new patches come out and, hey, there's a new feature. You can do this new thing. You can do this new thing. So like, that's kind of down now. It's like not happening as much. That's what I'm looking forward to, is like, hey, we just brought this new feature over. Now you can do this. Now you can do this. Now you can do this, right? That'd be awesome, right? So I'd love to see what they do there. Can you start leveraging some of the PC broadcasting capabilities? Can you, et cetera, right? Like all the capabilities that just exist on PC, what are they going to bring over, and how do they bring that over? That'll be very interesting to see.
I want to see new and exciting game mechanics, maybe possibly using some AI within that.
Yep, they have that ability.
Really taboo to talk about AI in the industry. It's pretty much any industry now. But Where I'm saying it could be implemented is, again, we've talked about this before, conversing with NPCs within games and stuff, having that be more dynamic with the use of AI. I think they can really bring a lot out there. And mechanically, I would love to see them just build something new to a degree that we haven't seen before. Because we're getting to the point now where the consoles, the people have moved on from even those 1080s you were talking about earlier, Hargeet. I want to see them push these games that way rather than just ray tracing or graphically, like. And I think that they will, and I think this is going to come more from the AA space. To be honest, I think we're going to see more new things happening within that space with all this new tech and features coming. But that aside, one other thing I wanted to talk about today is, of course, we've got the upcoming Tokyo Game Show. That's next week. So 25th through the 29th, I believe. And we all know the Iron Lords are going to be there. That's going to be exciting to see them, boots on the ground. I'm excited to see their reactions on a lot of things. Of course, with the Tokyo Game Show, but just them being there in Japan and seeing how they react to certain things, Addict, Cog, Sov, King. I really want to see how all that plays out with them out there. But speaking of the game show, though, what are you guys expecting from this? Do you expect anything new to come out from any of the big players? Xbox, PlayStation? Is there going to be anything exciting and new coming out of this?
Would you want to go first? Why don't we have Holly? Why don't you go first?
Yeah, Holly.
I don't know. I've heard little rumors here and there about what's actually going to be done at Tokyo Game Show, but I think I mean, obviously it's going to be focused on what's coming out of the Eastern market, right, for Xbox. So maybe some Square Enix conversations. I think it's difficult for Xbox because they kind of have three big shows back to back, right? They have the June showcase and then they go to Gamescom. They got a couple months, but Gamescom this year was really big for them. And then they're turning around and heading to, well, then there's PAX kind of squeezed in there a little bit, right, on the West. And then, of course, Tokyo Game Show. So, to be honest, I don't follow Tokyo Game Show as much because it's usually on at like 2:30 in the morning. But
same. I usually watch it after the fact. But now that
yes,
Iron Lords are there, like I'll be watching their coverage on their channel for sure.
Yeah, and I will too. I will be watching their stuff because those guys are just really wonderful, nice guys. And they're fun to watch talk about stuff. So, yes, I will be watching those. But I don't expect anything major. I mean, there'll probably be a little bit for Outer Worlds, right? Because that's a couple weeks after this, 3 weeks after this. But again, everything else will just be mostly Eastern market focused, I would think, and what they can bring to the West from that. And I don't play a lot of Eastern games, so it's not, I'm not very great on any of the series besides like Yakuza and Final Fantasy, which are just the ones that everybody knows. So I don't know.
Yeah. Hargeet, what about for you?
So the big rumor, of course, we all hear is that Forza Horizon 6 is being announced. And Forza Horizon 6 is going to be in Tokyo, or Japan at least. So that's a big announcement. So if that's happening, that would be pretty amazing. But we'll see. We'll see if that's happening. I think, was it Sega has like 4 new things to announce. There was another, what was the company? There's another company that has a Microsoft title to announce. That mentioned that they have that, and that's actually in their timeline, right? So it's actually something they're announcing. So I don't know. There's plenty of potential there. We out of nowhere got Ninja Gaiden, right? We had no idea that was happening, and somehow that just was announced as part of a dev direct that we just got Ninja Gaiden 4 and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black Just there you go. There could be many things like that, bringing back older, things that were associated with Xbox. Bringing those back with new announcements. Could be all totally new things. There's a lot of Eastern content now that that may seem like it's not a big deal, but like things like Black Myth Wukong are kind of played in the West as well. Wu Chang, like things like that maybe have a more general audience, as it were. So they could announce any of those kind of things, right? We don't know. There could be another one of those coming along. So there's plenty of that potential. I wouldn't count this as what it used to be. They have been growing as far as Xbox, their presence in Tokyo every year to make it something more substantial. I think they had 1 year, maybe it was last year, where it was a little bit of a dip for me at least. But they kind of try to make it bigger and bigger, and this year they're saying it's going to be bigger. So
yeah,
I would think it's going to be something substantial. I mean, announcing a Forza would be a huge thing.
Yeah, especially people who have been wanting it in Japan as well.
Yeah,
and that's already kind of like the secret that was unleashed a few months ago that everybody was talking about. But
yeah, so if they do that, that is a huge deal. But I don't know what else they have in store for us. Certainly FF7. It's do we already? I think we already got the date now, right? Because of the Nintendo reveal, the first remake, whatever. We don't have whenever Rebirth. I think that was the second one is coming to Xbox. Oh, okay. They could announce that one. So that could happen. There's plenty. Wouldn't it be a kicker if they say FF7's third piece or whatever, the third of the trilogy is announced on Xbox's stage on the TGS? Wouldn't that be a kicker, right? So there's always potentials for something like that. I think they're just becoming like this undeniable force now, no matter where, because they're so large. Even if they just talk about their own games, it's a big deal. But moving forward, they also still will have these third-party things because they still are. They're two platforms, Windows and Xbox, right? You got to always keep that in mind. And so with that, they have massive appeal to a lot of players all over the world. Windows is massive in Asia. So you have to look at that as well and say, well, okay, for those customers, should they not be bringing those third-party partners over and saying, here's what we're going to showcase? And I think they're going to do that. I think they've now accepted that role. Mm-hmm. And I still look for third parties to show me stuff too outside of Xbox. There's plenty of Japanese publishers that put out tons of stuff.
Capcom,
and some of it's broad appeal.
Resident Evil, all that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You have plenty of things coming along. Onimusha looks pretty cool. I don't know.
Onimusha looks so good.
Is that dated yet? I don't think it is. I don't
think it is, but I'm looking forward to that.
They could drop something like that. That'd be awesome too, right? There's so much that we could see. So I look forward to it. Again, it's a massive equivalent to what was E3 over here, like Gamescom in Europe, right? I think this is the Asia version of it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can tell us, what any of them can tell us. Sure. Even Nintendo. Hey, if they've got, I was so disappointed, as you know, we got demonetized by showing that trailer. Not seeing that 3D Mario, not seeing that big new Zelda game. Like, where is my freaking game? I
don't expect it at Tokyo Game Show.
I don't think they're gonna show me anything, which sucks. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen at TGS, which sucks. But so that's what I want from them. If they would surprise me, Nintendo comes up and says, "Here's a look at our next 3D Mario game." Yes,
Nintendo. Surprise.
Yes, I want that. And then PlayStation have a roadmap, like just anything.
Well, so here's the thing. I have a little bit on PlayStation now. So PlayStation is actually rumored to have a state of play, I think, coming. It could be this week or next week. I don't know. But if they do have a state of play, apparently the rumor is it's going to be about Wolverine. Shocking. And if they do that,
we were hearing something about that, right? That's kind of ready to go, right? That there's a trailer.
They could show something at Tokyo Game Show for that as well. So I'm interested in seeing more of Wolverine. I want to see that.
I hope
it's good too. And Insomniac, great team. I want to see what they're doing with Wolverine. Septic Sauce says canceled. We're canceled, people. That's it. Show's done. We're canceled. Septic Gaz, how dare you? How dare you have your show on right before mine and then run into my show? I am so disappointed. No, I'm just kidding. I hope you did funnel some of those people over here. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Anyways. Yeah. Cygnus says Wolverine greatness. I hope so. I hope so. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. I just hope it's not like that bastardization about, like, you know, what we saw in that alpha footage, if that's what it was, where he was just like jumping across buildings. I don't want another Spider-Man type game using Wolverine. I want a Wolverine game.
I know. What we saw so far was not good.
I did not like that. So I did see some combat that looked really impressive. It didn't look great, you know, animation-wise or anything, but it looked cool what he was doing and stuff. And, of course, all alpha footage that wasn't ready to go or anything. So we'll see. And it's supposed to come out sometime next year. Yeah. F you, Gaz. F you. Yeah, he's just in there talking crap. That's what he's good for. I love my brother from across the pond. He's awesome. Gaz is a fun person. He can be a little annoying at times, but so can I. That blue number, the Who, he says. The Who what?
Yeah, he knows.
Oh, I see it now. Oh my goodness. Shame, for shame. Hargeet is just like, what?
No, I saw it too.
No, I know.
I saw it too.
Wow. All right. Well, that's it. The show's done, guys. I have nothing else to say. If you guys don't have anything else to say, I would like to give the floor to Holly and let everybody know where they can find you, Holly. And again, doors always open. You're welcome to come to the podcast anytime. It's great to have you. I love your insights on gaming. So let the people know where they can find you at on socials and stuff.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me. I love my gaming family, and thanks chat for hanging out with us. I am this right here on YouTube. I have a channel, and I made a couple videos on the new upcoming 007 game in the last week or so. One about the gameplay reveal that we saw, kind of broke it down a little bit. The other one was just kind of what we know so far about the game coming out. And I streamed Animal Shelter Simulator 2, the groundbreaking game that everybody has been waiting to see earlier this week. I'm kidding, but I did stream it.
Everybody. One person, Hargeet. No.
It's a chill game. If you like animals, you like animal shelters, and you like simulator games, you know, there you go. It's your jam. But I am going to be playing Baby Steps when it comes out, which is the 23rd, which is this week. So I'm going to be playing that on stream.
I thought that was already out. I thought that was already out. Babysit, or was it early access to people?
I think there is a demo out, and I think the original release date might have been just a little bit earlier, but comes out this week. So I'll be streaming that game and probably cursing up a storm, because I heard it's like Getting Over It, which if you remember that's the guy in the barrel with the pickaxe, and anyway, it's a whole thing.
I've seen
it.
So
come hang out with me sometime. And then I'm also on DeMarco Dude's podcast on Thursday nights at 5:30 Central, which is on DeMarco's channel, DeMarco Dude. That's it, and thanks guys.
Nice.
And the Infinite podcast, which is sometimes on Friday nights. But
hey.
Not always, but sometimes.
Not always. So. Sometimes it happens to us too. Well, we thank you for being here. Hargeet Shani, let everybody know where they can find you. The 15 million podcasts you do every week.
Not that many.
No, not that many yet. All right, go ahead.
So if you want to subscribe to my channel, Hargeet Shani 1, my book, shop.shani.us. I'll be on with Web Dave tomorrow. We were on earlier today talking with King David before they head out to to Tokyo for TGS, and I'll be on tomorrow with Web Dave as well at 7 p.m. US Eastern Time. Check that out. On with Boom just before TGS on Wednesday, 7 p.m. US Eastern Time. We'll probably talk still about the rumors. I'm sure something will break right before, so we'll talk about that. And then next Friday with C Money and Doodle right after some of this stuff will hopefully be put out. So I'll be on 8 p.m. US Eastern Time with them on Point for Gamers, and then we'll be talking about it on Saturday.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Sure.
On 6 p.m. US Eastern Time next Saturday, we'll go over all the fun. I'm hoping we have tons and tons of new things coming out of TGS.
Hope so.
That we can go over. So look forward to that. And then again with Web Dave after that, but whatever, we'll get to that. So
I hope for more positive news in the community and in the industry. I hope we get more positivity, because right now it's much needed in the gaming space for sure. But yeah, with that said, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening after the fact. I appreciate you. Until next time, everyone, game on.